And from this end, we're going to open up with Bill Rabinowitz.
I know you've been asked about Patricia before, but when he came, there was a lot of skepticism. He won you guys over very quickly. What was it that he did to do that in terms of relationships, and also schematically, what has he done that's been so effective?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us questioned how great of a coach he was and how well he was, able to be in a coordinator and calling plays and things like that. But I think the thing that, we weren't aware of was the kind of person he was. He's an amazing person. As soon as he came here, you knew he wanted to be a mentor, a role model, and it was always bigger than football to him. And the relationship always felt genuine. He genuinely cares about us like we're his own kids.
Over here, Austin Ward.
Sonny, it would feel weird to feel like you guys did anything poorly or all that wrong against Indiana to give up 13 points, but I know how high your standards are. So what did you guys on defense take out of that? Where do you see things that you felt like you had to improve? Yeah,
I mean, we gave a few big plays, a few different type of similar run attacks we've seen throughout the whole year, and then some other plays. But I don't think the defense was satisfied at all. I mean, the way we looked at it, I told them the other day, we got outplayed by the other defense. The other defense held our offense at 10, and we held them to 13. So the other defense outplayed us. So next time we step up on the field, we can't let that happen.
Tim May.
Yeah, first pass, Sonny. What impresses you about Miami? I would think you watched that game on Saturday. I may be wrong, but what just impresses you about them? What's the initial challenge you see going against their offense?
I think the first thing you see when you watch the tape how big they are up front. They got a big old line. They're physical. They do a good job up there. Obviously you got number 10 in the slot. He's a great player. They find different ways to get him the ball. He's very effective. He's an awesome playmaker. And then it goes to the back four. He's a big back. He does a great job as well. And then obviously Beck, he's a veteran quarterback, so he's seen a lot of ball, played a lot of games. So got to be very good in disguise with him because he's a smart football player. And then I think sometimes, as you keep watching the film, you notice the other guys in the receiver room are very good as well. I mean, I think they're top in the country and like run after catch or something like that. So they all do a very good job. It's not just 10.
You keep in mind they were playing in a big win day down there. I mean, that maybe you didn't see all that they're all about. Texas A&M.
Yeah. I mean, because I remember I was watching Texas A&M last week. They had a game earlier in the year. I think it was South Carolina. Where it was a windy game like that as well. So obviously you know that. They're able to sling it. I know it wasn't a high scoring game, but we know they're able to put up points. We're playing against probably one of the best offenses we played all year. So we know what's at hand.
Spencer Holbrook.
Yes, I mean, when it comes to stopping Miami's run game, it seemed to be pretty good at busting through and just like little by little, just seeing them go through. What's the challenge of facing a team that kind of is either getting a little in the run game or getting a lot? There's not much in between.
Yeah, I think just being consistent for 4 quarters. It's like you said, they're kind of going to keep going, trying to wear you down. They're big and physical, and they're going to try to wear you down through the 4 quarters. So we got to be consistent, and then just matching their physicality. They're big, strong, and physical, so we got to play physical.
Let's go with Andy Anders.
My question got asked you.
Oh, did it? Okay, I'll move on to Murph.
Sonny, last year you guys were the team that had played the first round game and we're going into this fresh off of a game. This year you have this time off. How do you use this time off to kind of keep your edge, and how do you feel like it might be different this time around, fresher, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I mean, I think early on when we first got on the break, we took a few days off, but besides that, we've been going at it. Not trying to wear us down too much, but like you said, trying to keep our edge. Fast, physical practices. Just trying to bring it each and every day, get each other better. Like you said last year, there's a few teams who saw a little bit of struggle coming off that bye week. And, I think Coach Day, Coach Mick, and all the support staff, they do a really good job of studying like how to keep us ready and how to keep our bodies ready and trying to use science to change that plan as we go.
We're going to go to the Zoom. Scotty, you got anybody on your end that's looking to ask a question?
Yes, we have 2. First is going to come from Nick Hamilton. Go ahead.
Hey, Sonny. Wanted to just ask you on your personal development. What are some of the things that you feel like you've personally improved upon going from Jim Knowles to Matt Patricia this season to where you currently are getting ready for the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah, I think just taking a bigger step than last year in terms of I have more experience this year, so I feel like I'm more confident in what I'm seeing and playing a little bit faster. I think I've done a better job this year of understanding concepts, understanding really what's going on, what is the offense trying to attack. And then I think I've done a better job with my hands, getting off blocks. And then also I feel like I've took a step tackling. But still a lot of work to go. Some of the other things to work on. I don't think I'm anywhere near my ceiling, so just trying to keep getting better.
We have one more question from Bill Landis. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Sonny, kind of following up on that, the idea of just trusting what you're seeing more now. What's that process like? As you're kind of, you're learning linebacker on the fly. Like you didn't have 2 years of practice behind the scenes at linebacker. You were kind of just thrown in there right away. What was it like kind of trying to get the feel for the game that way?
Yeah, I think last year I was kind of figuring out, so I wasn't really trusting myself, just figuring out what I'm doing, what everyone else is doing. And I think now more so I understand the defense so well that like you can kind of just focus on the offense. That's what Coach Patricia says. Like you got to know it like the back of your hand, so you can just look at the offense and see what's going on their side of the ball and being able to anticipate rather than just reacting every play and having no idea what's coming. So I think this year I've been having a better understanding for like what's coming before the play actually starts.
Thank you, Scotty, and your people there. Tony Girdman.
Sonny, you guys were pretty upset, pretty angry after the loss to Indiana. Is this still an angry team?
Yeah, I think we're frustrated. We didn't play well enough to win the game, and that's our fault. So we took the time to fix that, and we know the last time we stepped on the field, we left something on the field. So this time you got to leave everything out there because it's a one-game season at this point. So it's win or go home. So you got to leave it all out there.
Second row here, Stephen Means.
Since obviously the Texas game, Arvell has consistently gotten more attention every single game. As the guy who's playing next to him, how does that help you, and how has that freed you up to maybe make some of the plays you've been able to make? Because maybe teams have, if they were worried about you coming into the season, now they also have to worry about what Arvell is doing.
Yeah, I think when you look at our entire front seven, it's pretty hard just to focus on one guy. So you got Arvell, then you got K-Mac in the middle, then you got Curry, Jackson on the outside. Obviously both our three techs and Edric and Taiwan, so it's great players all over. So it's kind of like pick your poison there, and I think that's why you see so many guys, a variety of different guys making plays each and every week. It's not really just one person every week.
We're going to go one more question from this end here, Doug Lesmaurice.
Sonny, like on third down or passing downs, when you and Arvell are up there on the line and like menacing and looking like you're going to come, I mean, sometimes it feels like, man, just let those guys go and get after the quarterback every time. But obviously, Coach Patricia, sometimes you guys spy, sometimes you drop and cover, sometimes you do go after the quarterback. How would you describe how Coach Patricia has used you and Arvell in different ways in those situations to make it hard on the opposing offenses?
Yeah, I think we're always trying to be on the attack, especially on third down. It's supposed to be a fun down for us, so we're always on the attack, always trying to stay one step ahead. I think he does a very good job of getting guys in the right position to make plays. And I think third downs, it's one of the most fun downs for us, especially like I remember when we came into the season last year in spring ball, and the way he was coaching, it was like we have a lot of free will to choose what we wanted to do and stuff like that, and he was giving us all the tools. So it's so much fun out there, especially you get to third and long. You get to really play with the offense a little bit and have fun.
Great. Sonny, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Scotty, we're going to bring in defensive coordinator Matt Patricia now.
All right.
Okay, we will open up the floor for Coach Patricia. Let's go, Stefan Kreisny.
I don't know if you were listening what Sonny was just saying there about third downs and kind of having, call it a fun down, right? They get to do what create some havoc on third and longs. Just how much early on in the process did you see what Arvell and Sonny can kind of do in those situations? And I guess how do they kind of gain your trust and kind of having that free will of what they want to do there?
Yeah, it's kind of great at this point of the year. A lot of it, they've created through the course of the season. You build that stuff and let it grow as the players kind of learn and put the packages together. So, started out trying to really just see what they could do and how much interchangeability we could put into the unit when we get out there, and kind of just taught them from that conceptual standpoint. And sometimes, on the field, they're just you give them the concept of the call, but they're making the changes on the field based on what they see. So I think it's been really great. It's fun. I think that's where you get most excited, and you kind of got to earn your way into that third down situation with the early down play. So that's really important for, that everyone to understand, hey, we got to earn the right to rush on third down. If we're not taking care of our job on early downs, then we're not going to get that opportunity. But as much as we can kind of get out there and let those guys show off their ability and their talent in that situation, it's great. I think both of them have really good coverage skills. They're both really good in the rush. They're big, they're long. I think some of the matchup stuff that they can do. And they have a little bit of savvy suddenness to them, which, when you are inside and some of those alignments, Sometimes that quickness is just a little bit different than like a defensive tackle 3 technique or something like that. So I like to kind of just keep that spinning. But they do a lot of it on their own, which is fun. You know, a lot of times they'll come back, we'll work on it in practice, and I'm like, what did you guys see? And then we'll talk about it and say, all right, well, maybe we should do this instead and make that call. So it's fun.
Dylan Davis.
Yeah, Matt, it would appear to us that like your defense, you're able to do a lot of stuff at just 1 year into your system. I guess how far along did you think you would be at this point? Did you exceed where you thought you'd be, and how much more is there still to go that you can work in during bowl prep?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I really kind of said like, hey, by this point I want to have this amount of it in. I think a lot of it was, let's teach this and see where it see where it grows pretty much from that aspect of it, and just give the credit to the players. They're the ones that have really just embraced all of it, studied, learned, understand kind of some of the moving parts, and then the more moving parts that we have with it, then the more different kind of ways you can put the pieces together, which has been a lot of fun. So I think they've done a phenomenal job. I mean, like I said, give credit to the players. They're the ones that have studied and really worked hard to kind of make all of that go, and I think the guys have done a great job with the ownership of that. So super proud of them, super excited for all the things that they were able to do with it, and excited just to have an opportunity to play one more.
Third row left, Jared Smalley.
Hi, Matt. I wanted to ask you about Kayden McDonald. He's obviously he's unanimous All-American now, and he's had this breakout season. You all in the building knew he was very good. But this year, you have developed a very emotional bonding with a number of players on your defense. And that shows after every game. But with Kayden, it's a little different. These are big old bear hugs between guys.
Well, he's a big guy, so if you don't go in there nice and big, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You gotta swell up a little bit there.
And that's what I'm getting at. Is just he has credited you specifically for one of the major reasons why he's been able to develop into this type of player. And I wanted to know, how do you think that relationship has formed? Why do you think you all are so tight? And what do you think explains his rise?
Yeah. I'm just super appreciative to be around all these guys. Like I said before, they're great. They're great young men. I have so much joy when I walk in the room and I see all of them. And K-Mac is no different. He's got a huge smile and he's a big grizzly bear. And I can't wait to give him a big old hug. And I just get so excited to see him really develop and grow. And he's super coachable. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. And to watch him, just kind of light up when something that you kind of talk about and install, and watch that happen on the field and watch him have that success. That's the joy of coaching, and that is really what has just been so fun for me this year, I guess, in the selfish part of it. My joy of just watching these kids be able to accomplish the things that they really have worked so hard to do. I get very excited, for them to be able to do all that stuff. And it is a special relationship. He's a great young man. I'm just want nothing but the best for him every time we see him. I'll tell you a quick story, though. This is a good one. So he likes to put a lot of the stuff on his face before the games. And so, I give him a good old bear hug before the game, and I walk in, and it's a little trimmed right now, but I walk into the locker room, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm like, what's wrong with my beard? And I'm like, I look like I'm about 30 on this side, and like where I am right now on this side over here, and this side is, all black, and this side is all gray, and I was like, K-Mac, he hugged me, and all his makeup, all the stuff came off, so it looked like I dyed my beard. It was great. But, those are the fun moments. You can't help but just be excited to be around those guys.
Fourth row middle, Pat Murphy.
Matt, Ryan earlier talked about your Super Bowl experience making runs in the NFL playoffs. Obviously, this layoff is a lot different than what you guys did. How do you handle that thus far? And then looking forward, how do you get these guys ready to play some of the biggest games of the year after such a long time off?
Yeah, I'm trusting in, this is a learning for me. 21 days, that's a long time. We had bye week kind of moments in the NFL, but this is a really long layover and break. So certainly trusting, all of the expertise here, Coach Day and Coach Mick, and making sure that I'm just listening and trying to learn exactly what the best thing is to get us ready to go with this break and this layover. But it's been fun. I'll say this. I think the intensity is right where we need it to be. I think the guys understand that on the field. They want to stay focused. It is unusual. You kind of like build up through the course of the week and like, okay, hey, let's get ready to go. And then, we got to wait one more week and do all that stuff. But I think everyone's doing a great job of handling that. But I'm right now really trying to trust the expertise in the building. I think some of the things, that we did transfer, because we have some different kind of scheduling than, when everybody's in school and that stuff. So, just trying to learn.
Austin Ward.
Matt, I'm not trying to get you in any kind of trouble.
Appreciate
how many-
that. I appreciate that.
I know.
Thanks.
So I'm trying to phrase this the right way for you. How many sack-worthy plays did Kenyatta Jackson make against Indiana that did not result in a sack? And if somebody is maybe dealing with situations that are not being officiated in a way that they want, how do you keep a player engaged through that if it's not going their way?
Yeah. I think for me, I've always just, and this is kind of how I was raised with the game, like, you know, we're just going to have to play the game as it's being called, you know, whatever it is, it's how they see it, and that's how we need to play it. And, you know, I just think that for us, if we just keep working our technique and keep working our fundamentals, and, you know, we got to play through whatever it is in those situations. So, can't be frustrated. I think that's the biggest part of it is, you know, you got to stay mentally focused. We got to stay mentally tough in that situation and just play the next play. You know, I always try to tell those guys, like, hey, don't measure it. You know, let's not measure this and then try to say, oh, well, that didn't happen. This is going to happen. Like, just stay in the moment. It's 8-second decisions, 8-second plays that you have to put together for 3 hours. And if one of them doesn't go your way, then the next one, you know, do your best to make it go your way. So I think just staying that kind of mental focus is really important no matter what those situations are.
Deep center field, Dan Hope.
Matt, with Coach Day taking over the offensive play calling, does that change things for you guys at all on the defensive side of the ball? And does it put any more responsibility on your guys' plate to really make sure the defense is locked down?
No, I mean, defensively, I think we're just trying to make sure we're taking care of our role, our job, doing our job on our side of the ball, and making sure that our stuff is as tight as it can be from that aspect of it. So I think that the team in general, Coach Day does a great job of coaching the team. You know, he's really involved with all three aspects and making sure that, you know, we're approaching everything the right way, playing the game the right way, and all the pieces are coming together to help us, you know, put us in the best situation we can to win. So we're going to just stay focused on making sure we do our job on defense and try to get better each week. So
We'll go one more here locally. Joey Kaufman.
How long have you coached on the sideline during games, and how do you think that helps, like, interacting with guys during sequences, adjustments? Just it's a different dynamic than maybe we've seen before, and just wondering how it's helped maybe.
yeah, I've, you know, my entire NFL career, I called the defense from the sideline. I was on the sideline, honestly, I think since about 2006. So I always just felt that's really kind of how we just did it, you know, there. And even in college, where I was at, you know, there was coordinators who called on, you know, from the sideline too. Previously, I do enjoy the part, exactly what you mentioned, like to be on the field, interact with the guys. Kind of sometimes for me, as we're making adjustments or I'm talking to the kids. I want to make sure I want to see in their eyes. I want to look in their face and make sure that, hey, are you understanding, or how are you doing? How you feel? Like how are we progressing through the game? I think when you're away from that, certainly, you know, there's advantages to both. But I do like to be down there with those guys and kind of help them through the problems, right? I think on game day, my job is really try to help us problem solve the situations that are going on. And I think the best way for me to do that is be down there interacting with them and, you know, making sure that I'm listening really to kind of everything that's going on. It's easier for me to kind of hear everything when we have all those moving parts.
You see them in the eyes. Is that just knowing that the message is coming across, or can they give you kind of like feedback as well? I don't know if there's more receiving end as well.
Yeah, I think absolutely. You kind of, you know, can tell, maybe I'm talking about, hey, what do you think about this adjustment? And if they're maybe hesitant, or you're not really, you know, not really getting that feedback, like, yeah, I got it. I understand exactly what you're saying. Then you say, all right, maybe it's not worth it. Let's do something else. And I think that's kind of the feedback you're looking for from that kind of direct interaction.
Scotty, how you doing on your end? Anyone with questions?
Yep, we have three. First one is going to come from Joe Reedy. Go right ahead.
Hey, Matt, just wondering, with your experience in the NFL with the playoffs and everything in 3-game runs, how can that transfer into a college football playoff setting, especially with the chance to kind of watch that Cotton Bowl game on Saturday? I mean, watch the first round game this past week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Ohio State did a pretty good job last year kind of handling the college football playoffs. So I'm really trying to follow the lead of everybody here. But I think, you know, I've been through playoffs before and understanding when you watch a game and opponents, because we weren't really sure, obviously, who we were going to play. But I think you watch that game with a little bit more intent, a little bit more purpose. And I think maybe that's something we talked about before the game was played. You know, let's make sure we're watching both, you know, Texas A&M and Miami from a standpoint of, all right, if we have to play these guys, how are we preparing, for the 3 hours they're playing. Like, how are we studying them for the 3 hours? We're not going to watch it as fans. We're going to watch it as, hey, this is our next opponent. And I think, you try to get something we would do in the NFL. You're just trying to gain that advantage. You're trying to gain that edge of preparation where, your potential opponents are worried about somebody else. And during those 3 hours, you're trying to get ahead on preparing and studying, what they do. So that was really kind of probably my biggest message from the last weekend.
And then just coming into the year and the expectations you had, has it been more enjoyable than what you thought it would be, and just how the way the defense is played?
Yeah, well, the defense, the players have done an unbelievable job. I think they, again, give them all the credit. I think they played so hard and aggressive and flying around on the field, and it is a lot of fun. I tell them all the time, it's such a privilege to kind of, be up there in front of the group and talk to the group, but really it's just such a joy to watch them play on Saturdays and watch how they put a week of work together to go out in the field and perform for 3 hours. And just for me personally, it has been so much fun to come back to college and have that, I call it a little bit of a youthful energy with the players that we have here and their excitement to go out and play and their camaraderie and the bond that they have and kind of the brotherhood that they've formed. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Next one is from Nick Hamilton. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, Matt. Just wanted to know, how do you balance between coming up obviously every week with various defensive schemes and then being able to be a manager of these defensive personalities in order to have the ultimate success leading up to where you guys are now and getting ready for the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah, certainly the game plan standpoint, we have a kind of a process that we go through when we're trying to get ready to play an opponent, and that's something I think the coaching staff, defensive coaching staff has done a great job of all taking different areas that we look at and putting that together to put a plan together to help us give a chance to win. So the staff has been unbelievable with that, and then to be able to take that to the classroom and kind of coach that and teach that to the players has been pretty awesome to watch. Again, we have a great group, so there's never really an issue of, when we put a game plan together of how we think we got to play the game to give us a chance to win. There really isn't a lot of kickback with any of that. I think the guys in the room, they just want to win. I think they get a lot of joy watching each other make plays, and I think you see that in the excitement out in the field when somebody makes a play and everybody goes running in and wants to celebrate with them. So I think that general appreciation for everybody in the room is really kind of, we haven't really had any issues there, which has been great. So we've just been able to kind of dive in and make sure we're doing everything we can to stop the opponent.
Final one from Zoom Land from Bill Landis.
Matt, with Arvell Reese, what's the balance between when you want to use him as a spy, when you want to really send him after the quarterback and attack the line of scrimmage, and is he at the point at all where sort of just reputationally he might have an impact on the game, even if you decide not to send him? Just sort of like quarterbacks are just kind of always aware of where he is, and even if he's not coming after them, he's still making an impact on the play.
Yeah, that's definitely happened. And even offensive protection systems, a lot of the stuff we attacked early in the season now, I think teams have kind of seen enough film on it, so they a lot of times they'll slide, to his spot where he is, or they'll try to make sure they have him accounted for in different ways. So that's great. That gives opportunity to other players on the field to be able to have opportunities when that happens. So I think his impact has been great. I think on the defense has been, his role, his flexibility, the way that we've been able to utilize him has been super special. And I think he's really kind of showcased what he can do and how he can impact the game, which has been awesome to see. But we are kind of seeing some of those game plan things that offenses do to try to handle. When you have an impact player like that, offenses have to adjust. They got to do something. So we're going to try to stay in front of that a little bit.
Jerry, that's it from this end.
All right, thank you. We have time for two more. Kellyanne Stitz.
Coach Patricia, you talked earlier about this long layoff. How do you help the guys keep their edge in practice during this long layoff?
Yeah, again, relying on kind of the strength staff and Coach Day and everyone that's kind of researched what the best things to do. I think one of the things that we have done is just the intensity of practice has been pretty high, but also trying to balance how long we've been out there too. So, really kind of trying to hit it as hard as we can and then get off and, making sure that we are getting kind of the proper rest along with that. But, some of those really competitive periods, I think kind of keeps everybody with their edge for sure.
And final question, Doug Lamery.
Matt, speaking on Arvell still, you're getting that benefit of the menace without even sending him every time. Is it still worth it to just send him a bunch of times, though, because he's still Arvell Reese, and let him go after the QB?
Yeah, I think you don't ever want to not make sure your good players are doing things that they do well. So, yeah, it's a good balance, and I think you try to find different ways to do that and certainly use the pieces that we have up front as many ways as we can. Absolutely.
Smiling when you answered the first time about when you're watching film and you can see offenses having to plan for him and then he drops to spy, like it makes you smile.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, some of that stuff's a lot of fun to see when that stuff happens. So it's good. We'll keep building it and see what we got here coming up. It'll be fun. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Happy holidays to everybody too. You guys have a safe and healthy happy holiday. Appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Scotty and guys, we're going to bring Lorenzo Styles down here now, starting cornerback. We'll open up the floor for questions for Lorenzo. We'll go deep in the back. Joe Nugent.
Lorenzo, after ripping off 12 straight wins, has it been hard to not play a game in the last 3 weeks, not to get back out there and kind of right that wrong?
Yeah, definitely. We're antsy to get back on the field. We're excited. We know who our opponent is, so we're able to kind of just focus our preparation on Miami. And, yeah, just loading up, getting ready to go.
Let's go to Andrew Gillis.
When you look at what Tony has done for Miami at slot, what stands out to him, or what stands out to you about him and all the ways that they're able to use him?
Yeah, a lot of the offense is going to go through him. He's like a go-to guy for him. Yeah, he's quick, he's fast, he has a good skill set. And I'm excited for that matchup for me being in the slot and then me as our secondary as a whole in the defense to, yeah, go do our thing.
Does he compare to anybody that you have played this year, or is he kind of a different beast?
No, I think he has a different skill set than a lot of the guys we played this year.
Go to Andy Anders.
Now, obviously, you guys are going to work through your own issues defensively always, but is there an extra emphasis on giving the offense a good look right now as it tries to work through some of the red zone stuff, some of the things that's given them trouble in the last recently?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone on our team has a role to do. Sometimes we're going to, especially with this time off, we had a chance to go against the offense, and we all have a bunch of things I got to get better at, and red zone was one of those things that we're trying to improve on. But the scout team has been very important for them to do their job, and they've been doing that all year. Credit to those guys, but something we still got to improve on, and we're working to every day.
Go to the deep back, Dan Hope.
Lorenzo, a lot of the seniors talked last year about, when it got to this point of the year, about motivation of just wanting one more game with the guys. For you being a senior, how much of a motivator that is every game knowing we're playing for one more shot?
Yeah, for me, it means a lot. Last couple opportunities to play, and really we only have one game guaranteed. So that's how we're looking at it. Approach just these last couple of practices. These could be the last ones if we don't approach it right. So attacking that every single day, and just gearing up for that game, and then putting on that scarlet gray just means a lot. So.
Over here to the right, Adam King.
A lot has been made of that meeting after the Michigan loss last year and how it changed everything. Did you guys do anything as players or maybe with the coaches to kind of address what happened against Indiana, or was it more of we know what happened and we're ready to move on?
Now you always have to analyze it, and we had a lot of time off to do that. With all that time, there's a emphasis. The mistake showed up in that game, and it hurt us, and we lost. So when you lose, everything's evaluated even at a higher level. So having that time off, we reflected. We saw things we had to get better at as units, as a team, and yeah, right now we're in the process of making those corrections and trying to put it on the field.
Over here, second row, Stefan Kreisnik.
Going into the Michigan game, you were asked about what you want your class's legacy to kind of be. And you mentioned want to be Michigan. You guys did that. How much would what would it mean to be part of the senior class that gives Ohio State its first back-to-back titles, and how much is that a goal throughout this postseason? Yeah, that's definitely a goal. But we were humbled. We saw we lost the game. So like our emphasis right now is just focusing on being Miami. We only have one game guaranteed, but we know what's ahead of us. But yeah, our focus is kind of just singular on Miami right now.
Front row here, Tim May.
Yeah, Lorenzo, what is it like, though, in this generation now, this new era of college football where one goal you don't get, but, boy, you still have a shot at the big one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just 2 straight years now. Big Ten championship is elusive, but y'all still have a shot at it. What has that taken a little bit of getting used to, of the second chance?
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, but here at Ohio State, you don't want to lose any games. Right. So, yeah, losing a game is tough, but we still have the opportunity. We had to really take a step back because that loss kind of hurt, and we had to feel all that pain. But then it's like everything we want still in front of us. I'm happy to beat Michigan, so that felt great. We got that one done, and now our next goal is ahead of us, so trying to move through there.
And was watching that game Saturday, was that eye-opening to you, getting to watch who you're going to play next? I mean, did you kind of need that? I know you're going to get to watch video and stuff, but seeing Miami do what it did.
Yeah, so I really don't watch a lot of game copies. So watching the actual TV copy of the game they gave, you just heard about the players a little bit, heard about their stories and stuff. I know some guys were looking here at Ohio State, or just hearing about some of the guys and their skill set over the year that you wouldn't get to hear unless you were just watching the game. So being able to watch it, it definitely gave some extra preparation.
Over here, second row left, Doug LeMaurice.
Lorenzo, I guess maybe you were like 4 months old when the game was played between Ohio State and Miami, but growing up in a Buckeye family, does Ohio State, Miami conjure anything for you?
I mean, definitely. I mean, just watching some of the players come out of Miami, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, hearing about a lot of those guys, the great players there. So this is a kind of a big rivalry, and I don't want to call it a rivalry necessarily, but a big matchup. And being able to play this team, these two historic brands, it's just a blessing to be in this opportunity, to have this opportunity to even play in this game.
Scotty, how are you looking on your end?
We have 3 questions. First will come from Dan Toratora. Dan, go ahead.
Lorenzo, just looking at the whole road here, I know you said, going through that loss obviously taught you something, but what has this entire season and the body of work taught you about who the Buckeyes are as you step into this matchup, knowing that, like you said, you only have one promised and you have to take care of business if you want one more?
I think the loss kind of brought us closer as a team. A lot of the guys on the team, when you lose, the spotlight gets put on you, so some backlash for a lot of the guys. So we had to stick together and rally together. When you don't lose any games, you really don't. The adversity is not as much. So when you have that, you have to pull together as a team. So having really, I think that loss, we needed it. You didn't want it, but we needed it to bring us closer, and I think that's going to launch us into this playoff run and this next game.
Our next question will come from Joe Reedy. Go ahead, Joe.
Lorenzo, just what's it like been playing for Coach Patricia this season, and his enthusiasm for being back in a college game? Has that surprised you any?
It's been a blessing. So prior to this, I really didn't have any expectation of what to expect from Coach Patricia, but he's been great. He's been pouring into us a lot as young men. And yeah, for me, it's been a blessing to have him as a coach, just for my skill set, allow me to play nickel, allow me to play safety, how he's using us as players in our skill set, not necessarily just spots in his defense. So it's been great playing for him.
Our next question will come from Bill Landis. Go ahead, Bill.
Lorenzo, with Malachi Toney and everything that Miami asked him to do, I think they threw a pass. He obviously catches passes. They get him in the backfield. How do you prepare for a guy who's that versatile without, I guess, overcomplicating it and maybe confusing yourself a little bit to the point where maybe you don't play as fast as you want to?
Football in itself, I think our coaches are going to put us in a good position so the game will slow down for us. And that's one thing about having this time off. We have extra preparation. We get to see some of those plays on film. There are going to be some unscouted plays, but with that, we're going to know our rules really well and how we want to line up and how we want to attack their offense and what their attack is going to be against us as well.
Jerry, that's it from Zoom land.
Okay, we'll go over here. A couple more here, Lorenzo. Steve Hellwagen.
Lorenzo, how you doing? Going against Carson Beck, he's at the end of his 3rd year as a starting quarterback. 2 years at Georgia, he won a bunch of games, threw for a bunch of yards. What do you see out of him on tape, and what makes it different when you're going against a guy with 40 games of experience? What makes him different, I guess, better?
He's a tall guy, so he's going to be able to stand in the pocket and make those throws. You'll see he's going to try not to make bad decisions. He's going to try to get the ball out of his hands fast. Seeing the ball, seeing downfield, being able to make the checks, the protections. You wouldn't really see that from a younger quarterback. So his experience shows up on film. But on our end, we just have to do our job, try to make him feel uncomfortable, and make him make those bad decisions.
Lorenzo, thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Okay, Scotty and company, we're going to bring on defensive end Kenyatta Jackson at this point. We'll open up the floor for questions for Kenyatta. We will go second row middle. Stephen Means.
Kenyatta, when you look at Miami's offensive line, especially Francis on that at the tackle spot, what impresses you? What really stands about Miami's offensive line preparing for this game?
Their O-line is pretty big. They move well. 61 and 70, the two tackles, they're probably the best, offensive linemen on the O-line. But as a collective, they move well and they're pretty huge.
Let's go Joey Coffin in the front row here.
Yeah, how much did you hear growing up about that Fiesta Bowl in Miami, and what was it like being on sort of that part of the country where that was talked about? How much was it talked about?
Wait, say it again?
The Fiesta Bowl at Ohio State, Miami.
Yeah.
Was it like talked about much like in Miami? What was that like?
Nah, not really. I didn't really hear about it until my freshman year when I got on campus here. They was telling me all these different type of stories about, Ohio State cheated the game, whatever the case may be, but that's all I heard about it.
Right next door, Bill Rabinowitz.
What has Matt Patricia meant to you both as a coordinator and just as a kind of a mentor? I mean, Jim Knowles did a great job. Obviously, #1 defense, won a national championship, but it seems like you guys are closer with Matt Patricia. What's enabled him to have that bond with you guys?
He's just a good guy. I mean, when he first stepped on campus here, it was like a long lost family member that just came back from whatever he came from, but he came back home. And I mean, all the guys love him, even the offensive guys. He's just a family guy. He don't just talk to the starters or whatever the case may be, but he talks to everybody. And I think that's why everybody love him.
Let's go to Dan Hope.
Kenyatta, growing up in Miami, did you watch a lot of Miami football growing up, and how much did they recruit you?
Yeah, I watched a lot of Miami games. I went to a couple of Miami games as well. My family is huge Miami Hurricane fans. I don't know about now, but they were. But down there in Dade County is pretty big. Miami Hurricanes are pretty big, and it means a lot going against them. I've been wanting to go against them for the longest, and here we are.
Let's go to right in front, Joe Nugent.
Has it been hard not playing a game these past few weeks?
Yes. The players, we appreciate the resting time, getting our bodies right, but we want to go out there and play a game. So.
Front row, Austin Ward.
Kenyatta, I know you won't want to make excuses and you can't talk about the officiating, but you certainly looked frustrated against Indiana. It looked like there were a lot of plays that you could have made. How do you avoid letting that boil over, and knowing that you can't change the way the game might be officiated?
You just can't let the offensive lineman hold me. That's what Coach Patricia, everybody else was saying. Sonny Styles been on me big. He was like, you too good to let offensive lineman hold you. So going into the next game, can't let them hold me.
How do you fight that? What does that mean?
Technique, getting my hands on them first. If their hands are on me, then, get them off. But whatever it takes, man, just don't let the offensive lineman hold you.
Right next door, Tim May.
A bear hug's different from a hold.
It is.
Did you, by the way, before I ask real quick, did you ever talk to officials out there sometimes when stuff like that's going on, or do you just keep your mouth shut?
I usually keep my mouth shut, but yeah, I was real frustrated that game, and I said a couple of words to the official that I shouldn't have said, and it is what it is. It was terrible, but it is what it is.
When you got a guy like Malachi Tony, what he brings to the table, and
Yeah.
it's kind of big for you to be disciplined against a guy, an offense with that kind of guy in it, right?
Yeah.
Too. What just impresses you about their offense, and in particular that young man?
To start with the offense moved pretty well. Their offensive coordinator do a pretty good job at calling his plays or whatever, and they execute them real well. And then Malachi Tony, he's a pretty good playmaker. He's their gadget guy. He can do everything. Just as a freshman, just coming in as a freshman, he's supposed to be in high school right now, but him just coming in, at a young age, and he's doing the things that he's doing is pretty impressive. So yeah.
Go over here to the far right, Kellyanne Stitz.
Kenyatta, you touched on it, but just how excited are you for this opportunity to play your hometown team?
Pretty excited. We're not going to treat it like it's the Super Bowl or anything, but it's another game, and I'm pretty excited to go against them.
Well, I believe your uncle, Rudy Barber Jr., did he play for Miami?
Yeah.
Have you guys had any friendly banter and exchange
Nah, not
about
yet.
that?
Not yet. I mean, I think it's gonna come around Christmas time when I go back home, but not yet.
All right, we're going to go to the Zoom. Scotty, anyone with questions?
Yes, we have three. We're going to start with Nick Hamilton. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, just wanted to ask you some of the areas where you felt like you've improved upon this season, and what areas do you feel like you want to continue to improve and be better, and in order for you to be better to improve this defense as well.
I mean, I have a lot of things to improve on, but I think, one aspect of my game that I really improved this season was my block shedding, getting off of blocks in the run game and, making plays.
All right. Our next question is going to come from Dan Tortora. Dan, go ahead.
Kenyatta, you know what it's like to get here, get through all of this, and get to a national championship. What can you say about the road this season with Coach Day and what he's done to keep the guys that did return locked in and focused and not kind of rest on the laurels of last year?
He has done a pretty good job of leading this group. This group is younger than the group that was that won the championship last year. But I mean, his leadership and the older guys, like you said, the people that was on that championship team. I mean, we just take after him and we lead the team as well. And we just pretty much just stick to our routine that we did pretty much last year in this playoff run.
All right. One final question from Zoom, and that's going to come from Joe Reedy. Joe, go ahead.
Kenyatta, we usually see in Florida State, Miami, and Miami, Florida matchups that the talk out there can get a little chippy and intense. Just how do you keep your emotions in check in a game like this?
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good big game. I'm not the type of player to, trash talk anybody or whatever, but I mean, it comes with it. But I mean, I keep my composure at all times. It might be some words here and there, whatever the case may be, but I mean, we have a football game to play. That's it.
That's it, Jerry.
Okay, thank you very much. Kenyatta, we'll go over here to the right. Adam Cate.
I know it's kind of looking back to fall camp and everything, but there were so many people that doubted this defensive line. To kind of take a flash forward here, you've had a couple weeks to reflect and look at this team. You guys said you're no names. You're just one unit. Well, you're arguably one of the strongest parts of this defense. Have you guys taken a minute to reflect, and do you still use that as motivation as you go through this path?
Of course. Yeah, like you said, people, counted us out before the season even started, losing those 4 guys last year. And, coming into the season, people counted us out. But, we just keep our head down. We come in and we work hard each and every day. And, I mean, yeah, we still use that as fuel each and every game. And, especially, last game, that wasn't our best performance. And, as a leader of the D-line, that was my fault. We didn't have our best performance or whatever. But, coming into this next game, we're going to be hyped up for sure.
Fourth row middle, Pat Murphy.
You talked about how difficult it's been to not play a game. How have you guys kept that edge, kind of kept what you had going without having something to look forward to each Saturday here?
Just sticking to our, our regular routines. If it was a game week or whatever, have these hard practices on Tuesday, Wednesday. Probably mix up a hard practice on Thursday, or have a shells practice on Thursday as well. But I mean, we're just keeping that edge with these hard practices going against good on good. So.
And right next door, Tony Girdman.
Kenyatta, congratulations on the graduation.
Thank you.
The degree. What's that mean to you?
It means a lot. I shouldn't be saying this, but bro, I tell my mom this all the time. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but anyway, it was pretty big. It was pretty big. I did it for my mom. My mom really wanted me to, get a degree, and I did it for her. So yeah.
And final question over here, Spencer Holbrook.
Sorry to get back to football.
Yeah.
You played a lot in the playoff last year.
Yeah.
To be now a starter, we have to ask you about it all the time. To be a starter on this team now and finally get your opportunity, but to do it in the playoff now, you know what it's like to win a national championship, all of those things. But now to be like one of the focal points of this defense as it tries to win a national championship. What does that kind of mean to you with the journey that you've been on through Ohio State?
It means a lot. I mean, I have a lot of wisdom. This going back off of that, that run that we had last year, and just pouring it into the guys that wasn't on the team this year. I mean, that wasn't on the team last year. Just pouring it into them, and just taking that lead, and allowing those guys to follow my lead, and that's it.
Great. Kenyatta, thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much. Thanks, man. Okay, and we'll finish up with our final student athlete of the evening. Scotty, we're bringing in defensive tackle Kayden McDonald. And we will open up the floor for Kayden right now. Right in the front row middle, Bill Rabinowitz.
Matt Patricia said that when you give him the bear hug before the game, you get some of your face, whatever that pain, whatever on his. Tell me about how close you are with him. It doesn't seem to be just a coach-player relationship. It seems to be much beyond that.
I'm really close to him. Coach Patricia, he took me in the summer. I sat down with him and went through the goals that I had this year. And, he was, every step of the way, he was always in my ear. Even when I have a bad day or a good day, he always told me to keep working and keep going.
I mean, what makes him special as a coach?
That he know how to talk to his players, and he has a very good personality, and he's definitely he's been there before. He's been in a bad time, so he knows what it looked like, and him being the coach for us it's been nothing but a blessing.
Austin Ward.
When you watch Saturday and Mark Fletcher was hitting some of those runs between the tackles, and that was so key for them to beat Texas A&M, how much of that is going through your mind that is your job to erase that for Miami in 9 days?
Well, Miami, they're a good team, ACC, but, it's all about us. And, I feel like the preparation I put in, I feel like I won't be blocked. So whatever they got for us, we coming.
Tim May, right next door.
Yeah, but the throwaway question, how many pairs of glasses do you own?
I ordered like 10.
Yeah.
I always try to change it up, especially on game days, I got to put the buffs on. But when I'm in here on the weekdays, I got to put the, Ray-Bans on.
Yeah.
So.
Boot thing, right?
Yes.
What does it mean to you to be a consensus All-American? I think maybe even unanimous All-American. Kayden, and how far you've come, et cetera, the way you changed yourself this season, et cetera, and to find it paying off. What does that mean to you?
First and foremost, I want to thank God, and I want to thank Coach Johnson, Coach Day, the strength staff, for believing in me. Hasn't been done in 55 years, so I know he's smiling down. Jim Stillwagon smiling down at me, and I'm just really blessed to play at Ohio State and be on the biggest stage.
Right in the second row, right, Jeremy Birmingham.
Kayden, I know you guys are all about routine, making sure that things feel similar. Is there any advantage to being the team that's played in this venue now? This will be 3 times in 3 years that you've been playing at Jerry World. Does that do anything for you guys, you think?
Yes, it's an indoor stadium, and I feel like the way we practice in the indoor, we practice really hard, so it's not going to be no big adjustment for us. It's about can we execute in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line.
Andy Anders.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to follow up on what you said earlier, feeling like you won't be blocked regardless of what's put in front of you because of your preparation. When did you arrive at that level of confidence in your career? Was it during this season? When did that happen?
My whole life.
Take me through that. How did that build over your whole life then?
You go through life changes, you go through ups and downs, people leave out your life, family, my brother, my mom, it's been hard, but, having those hard life changes and not having anything to look forward to now, you can't take it for granted. So I feel like it's instilled in me and from my family and my bloodline.
We'll take one more question here locally, then we'll jump on the Zoom. Adam King.
We've heard a lot about balancing and trying to peak at the right time when it comes to being ready on New Year's Eve. What have the last 2 weeks looked like for you guys? How much have they been normal practices, or have they really been toned down? Is there anything you could compare it to, like a fall camp or anything?
There's no toning down here. We're on a mission to be the first team to win a back-to-back national championship. And, you know, I believe in my teammates, and I know we're going to do it.
Scotty, we'll throw it over to you. Any questions there from the Zoom?
Yes, we have two, and the first will come from Dan Tortora. Go ahead, Dan.
Kayden, we hear all about Miami's swagger. You've kind of gone into it a little bit here, but just speak on the swagger of the Buckeyes and the type of energy that you guys bring to the games.
You know, it all starts with the offensive, defensive line, and, you know, it starts with me in the middle, controlling the line of scrimmage, and that's what I'm going to do.
Next question will come from Joe Reedy. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, and what's it like seeing the defensive line kind of with the season that they had? I mean, you guys had no starters returning coming into the preseason, even though you had a ton of playing experience, but kind of seeing that group gel and have the season that it had.
Well, you know, Coach Johnson, he been really hard on us, you know, in the summer, and like Coach Day, the whole team basically, they wanted us to not be like the last year's D-line, but match their intensity. And I feel like we haven't reached our full potential because we didn't get that last win. But I know Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, Edric Houston, Taiwan's, Zion, Will, all those guys, I know we're going to be ready. So we're not, like, happy at all. Like, we're angry.
And then just in terms of eyeglasses, do you have a favorite pair, or have you gotten any of the Meta glasses yet?
Yeah. I'll probably say these are my favorite pair because, you know, it's every day and, you know, I got prescription in them. So.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we have time for a few more questions over here locally. Let's go with far back, Dan Hope.
Following up on being an unanimous All-American, you obviously being a first-year starter, did you go into this year feeling like all this was possible for you?
Yes, but at the end of the day, like, I'm going to thank God because, you know, without him, it wouldn't be possible. And I want to thank, you know, Coach Johnson, too, you know, betting on me, you know, not bringing no guys in, not transfers, and just betting on the guys he recruited. And, you know, the brotherhood speaks for itself, and I feel like that's why we are in this position right now.
Let's go with Joey Kaufman, front row.
Hey, what's the bond with the defensive lineman like that? You guys spend a lot of years in the program kind of waiting your turn. Like, I don't know, like, do you guys feel close? Do you guys do things off the field? Just like, what do you guys?
Every day, you know, last Saturday, all the guys got together and watched the Miami and Texas A&M game. Just getting that early film session in, and you know, we always do things. You know, we love each other, even through the hard times and bad times. We always stick together. So, our guys, we really love each other. Coach Johnson.
Let's go with Stephen Means.
Kaden, you just mentioned it. You're the first since Jim Stillwagon to do that. Did you know who that was before you did this? Like, who taught you about who Jim Stillwagon was?
Well, speaking of, I seen him won the Outland Trophy, so I seen him on the wall every day. And so I was like, who is this guy? So I did some research, and, you know, he was a nose tackle. And it's kind of crazy, like, after 55 years, I wasn't even alive. Like, I would have never imagined, you know, it would be me. So I'm just so thankful.
But you did the research on him, and, like, you kind of had a goal that you wanted to kind of break that drought at all?
Yeah, well, during the season, I was just taking it game by game, trying to play good every game. Then at the end, you know how God started blessing you with all these accolades. That's what happened for real.
Any other questions here? No? Okay, one more.
Jim Stillwagon, first play of every game, tried to smack the center right upside the head. I don't think you get away with that stuff now and stuff. But what do you think has set you apart more than, I mean, obviously you got in shape, I'm better than ever before, et cetera, but what do you think physically has set you apart, Caden?
I feel like maybe the conditioning part, like every day doing cardio, not missing one day, really.
Yeah. In other words, you can go and go.
Yes, sir.
Great. Kayden, I'll let you go now.
Thank you.
You very much.
Thank you, Kate.